Well, Canadime is it's a nonprofit organization, and it's made up of a bunch of individuals that are like-minded with respect to history. They're from various backgrounds. Some are military, some are millwrights, photographers, artists, that type of thing. And we're all here to document all these particular pieces of the history. Well, the Souterrain Impressions Project essentially is a project that's going to be documenting all the carvings that were done by World War I soldiers. Many of them carved their cap badges on there. They carved their names inside the cave. And these were all done while they were underground in their bunk beds, or sort of taking refuge from the bombardment that was going on above ground. The first time I went down there was in 2010. It was a very moving experience, to say the least.
I felt a need to remove my hat out of a sign of respect. I got a little flack for that from the director. We're supposed to wear hard hats at all times, but it just felt like it needed to be done for a few moments at very least. And as I walked through the caverns, I could feel the presence of the soldiers. I could see them almost in my mind's eye.
It's one of those experiences. It's hard to explain. I've seen the cave before on TV, and I've seen it on video, and then when you actually get down there, it's one of those moments where it's surreal. It's like it's this tomb that's been closed off for 100 years, and it opens up, and you're like the first eyes that have been on it.
It was by far the coolest thing I've ever done.
One of the most interesting things that I found was a London connection, and that was done by Robert McKee, and he was with the 48 Highlanders. It's an extremely impressive carving. Doing our research, we found out that he actually he came to Canada when he was 17, and he came over with a skill set. He was a carpenter, and this one particular piece is really quite nicely done.
The photographic equipment we used was a 4x5 studio camera with a digital scan back, meaning that the studio camera we used a digital receiver in the back of it, so that we were able to do high resolution or high definition photography.
It's a combination actually of a studio, typical 4x5 camera, and what we do is we couple or put a unit in the back here that's actually a digital scanner. So we're using old technology with new technology.
We went in, and each image was captured with straight on, left and right lighting. For laser scanning, we used some Konica laser scanners. We had a micro scanner and a macro scanner on the macro scanner. Some of the images were quite large, so we required multiple scans with overlaps, and sometimes even multiple scans just to capture the depths on left, right, upper and lower. One particular image was 160 scans, and to give you an idea of what that meant time-wise, the scan would take somewhere between 8 and 10 seconds, but the process would take up sometimes as much as 8 minutes to process the image on the laptop. So it was a full day for one image.
Once the images are scanned and documented, we're going to wind up creating a cross-Canada exhibit. Hopefully the rest of the population will be able to see what is down below ground. The other thing is, the reason why we're doing this is because it's very difficult for people to access the site.
Capturing more images from not just the souterrain, but other souterrains and battle tunnels that were created.
There are many other caves that are within that area that need to be documented because of a variety of things. I mean, transportation, roads are being built over top. There's an industrial park that's being built over one of them. So the likelihood of them just destroying some of this work is fairly quite high. So we need to get that stuff done before any of that happens. We're also going to be providing a service to the museums that cannot afford to do 3D laser scanning or high resolution images for their archives.
Another one of our primary goals would be for education. There's also the research component. There's bringing awareness to Canadians. So those are some of our items that we identify as our mission.
And because I work at the college, we have a Remembrance Day ceremony every year, and I see every year I see less and less attention being paid to what's being said. People need to remember this.
The Canadian troops accomplished something that other troops did not accomplish or weren't able to. Their accomplishment forged the Canadian nation in terms of what other countries saw us as. So that's another reason why we need to get these things and images out to the general public, so that we don't forget what these guys did.
Younger people are starting to, it's so far removed from their experience that they don't really even give it the respect it deserves, and it's not their fault.
We are hoping that with all the work that we're going to be accomplishing over the next several years, that the images, when they return and they come back to Canada, that the younger generation gets an appreciation of what many of the people that went over the top, what they basically gave to Canadian history. Many of the people that did go over the top were in their 17, 18, in their youth, early youth. So that's quite a bit of a responsibility and a legacy that they've left to our future youth.